Hello, welcome to New Beginnings Christian Communities worship service for this Sunday morning. I'm Pastor Brenda, and today I'd like us to look at the subject Work the Words into Your Life. Work the words into your life. The text is coming from Matthew, the 6th chapter, verses 6 through 8. And 17 through the end of the chapter in the Message translation. But first, I want to preface the sermon text by saying several things that I've been thinking. I've been thinking about the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who just died and whose death many are mourning. I want to remind us that she was a warrior woman. She worked hard and long, and if anybody deserves a rest, it is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and her death reminds us that she did everything she was supposed to do, and whatever is left undone, that's for we the living to take up. And I'm thinking of Breonna Taylor, who got no justice, killed in her bed, in her own home, and nobody is charged with her murder because she's not considered to be a human, not considered to be worthy of any consideration. And then I think of the presidential election and how, as we sit here in September of 2020, we are on the precipice of losing this democracy because of our greed and our short-sightedness and our refusal to see all as God's people. And I think of this pandemic, COVID-19, which has, to my great sorrow, revealed that my life's work has not been as fruitful as I'd hoped. Those who say they love God, however they call God, have not shown that to be true. And I wonder if I've not taught enough, if I've not preached well enough. Why is it that we don't care anything about each other, which is the baseline of what any faith teaches us? And then I look at how we've let the gospel be hijacked by our own idolatry. When we say Black Lives Matter, we're not saying other lives don't matter. We're saying there needs to come a time in this country when all lives do matter. And until Black lives matter, it is patently unclear that no other lives matter either. I watched an old movie with Dennis Quaid and Lou Gossett Jr. called Enemy Mine. A U.S. fighter pilot goes down on this planet on which a Drac fighter pilot goes down as well. Dracs look like lizards to us. They have 3 fingers and they're scaly. And they walk on 2 feet. They have 2 arms, eyes, ears, nose, or what look like them, what approximate them on them. But the fighter pilot says that this is his enemy, this Drac. What they're really fighting over is who can have the goods and services in one portion of space or the other. We've taken our world fight to the universe in this story. Now, the truth is they can't really be enemies because they don't know each other. They know nothing of each other, but they're stranded on this planet for the most part by themselves, to themselves, for 3 years. Now, Dracs are male and female together, and it turns out that Jerry as Davich calls the drac, is pregnant and gives birth to a child. And so they get to know each other. The Drac Dairy teaches Dawich some of his language. They sing their scriptures. And he says, in order for a Drac to come into the world and have place, his lineage has to be sung on his home planet before the Council of Dracs. And after they actually get to know each other, because they're depending on each other, they will not survive without the other. Jerry says, I need you to learn this. Would you honor me to learn my lineage? Because my child has to have it repeated in order to be accepted into his people. And so, David learns the Drac language, the lineage of Jerry, his friend, and Jerry learns English. And the Drac baby is born, and Jerry dies, and Davich becomes uncle. And when the baby asks his uncle what his parent was like, Davich says, he was my friend. And he said something else. He says a line of scripture from Drac, basically, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do not repay evil for evil. And David says, oh, I've heard that somewhere. He, in fact, is remembering long words of Jesus. And the Drac, Jerry, says, of course you would have heard it. The truth is the truth wherever it is. And the truth will find itself to all corners of the universe. And now, let us work the words of this text into our lives. Luke 6, verses 6 through 8 in the Message translation reads thusly. On another Sabbath, he went to the meeting place and taught. There was a man there with a crippled right hand. The religious scholars and Pharisees had their eye on Jesus to see if he would heal the man, hoping to catch him in a Sabbath infraction. He knew what they were up to and spoke to the man with the crippled hand. Get up and stand here before us. He did. Then Jesus addressed them. Let me ask you something. What kind of action suits the Sabbath best? Doing good or doing evil? Helping people or leaving them helpless? He looked around, looked each one in the eye. He said to the man, hold out your hand. He held it out, and it was as good as new. They were beside themselves with anger and started plotting how they might get even with him. And then we go to the 17th verse of Luke 6, which are in fact the Beatitudes. Coming down off the mountain with them, he stood on a plain surrounded by disciples and was soon joined by a huge congregation from all over Judea and Jerusalem, even from the seaside towns of Tyre and Sidon. They had come both to hear him and to be cured of their ailments. Those disturbed by evil spirits were healed. Everyone was trying to touch him, so much energy surging from him, so many people healed. Then he spoke. You are blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. You are blessed when you're ravenously hungry, when you're ready for the messianic meal. You're blessed when the tears flow freely. Joy comes with the morning. So we go from the scene where Jesus heals a man, and the crowds are not happy. The religious leaders are not happy that he's healed the man who's needed to be healed all his life. They are, in fact, angry. And the message says they started plotting how they might get even with him. Another translation says at this point, they decide that this Jesus of Nazareth must die. He's messing with their good thing. And then he begins the words of the Beatitude. People all around, they've come to them because they have need. They're sick and they can't get well. They're hungry and there's no food. They need housing and there's nowhere to live. They need families and they can't find any help anywhere. The energy from God is surging all around because Jesus is healing all who ask, all who come to him. And I'll read the words again. He spoke, "You're blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. You are blessed when you are ravenously hungry, when you're ready for the messianic meal. You're blessed when the tears flow freely. Joy comes in the morning. I cannot save myself. You cannot save yours. It takes God, and God through Jesus saves all who ask. Count yourself blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out, every time someone smears or blackens your name to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort and that person is uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Skip like a lamb if you like, for even though they don't like it, I do. And all heaven applauds. You know that you are in good company. My preachers and witnesses have always been treated like this. If everybody's applauding you and everything you do is fine and nobody has any problem with anything you say, particularly when you try to stand up for what you understand to be the truth, you're on the wrong team. It doesn't work like that. Those who speak the truth, those who try to live truth, are always faced with somebody trying to cut them down, somebody trying to cut them out, somebody trying to do them in. Just like Jesus healing the hand of the sick man, somebody's mad because you're living a good life, because you trust God, because you know the difference between right and wrong, and you attempt to live out of that knowledge. It makes them mad, but it makes God glad. It is trouble ahead if you think you have it made. What you have is all you'll ever get. And it's trouble ahead if you're satisfied with yourself. Yourself is not enough to satisfy you for long. And it is trouble ahead if you think life's full of fun and games. There is suffering to be met, and you're going to need it. There's trouble ahead when you only live for the approval of others, saying what flatters them, doing what indulges them. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Look how many scoundrel preachers were approved by your ancestors. Your task is to be true, not popular. To you who are ready for the truth, I say this: love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the energies of prayer for that person. If someone slaps you in the face, stand there and take it. If someone grabs your shirt, grab your best gift wrap, your best coat, and make it a present for them. If someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more tit for tat stuff. Live generously. Work the words into your life. Now, am I saying that's easy? If you know anything about me, you know I'm quick-tempered and I have problems with these words. But God says this is how I'm to try to live. And so I keep trying at it. I keep trying to have conversations with people who do not like me, who do not agree with me, who wish me dead. I keep trying. It is hard, and I cannot do it without the grace of God, but I keep trying because I'm trying to work the words into my life. I'm not Christian just because it sounds good. I don't read the Bible because it's a good book for all time and I like to turn the pages. It's a hard book. And some of the ideas I meet there, I would rather not have to deal with. But I try to work the words into my life. See, what's happened in this age when everybody's saying they're Christian when they have no idea who the Christ is that we are not working the words into our lives. Now, I recognize that to work the words of God into my life, into your life, means we've got to give God permission. We've got to say, yea, Lord. We can't make it happen, but we have to be willing to let it happen. But if we don't are not willing to work the words, to let the words be worked into our lives, then what we have is a world of hypocrisy and dog eat dog, where right becomes wrong and wrong is right, and that is blasphemy. If we're going to work the words into our lives, we have to live generously. Here's a simple rule of thumb for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you. Then grab the initiative and do it for them. If you only love the lovable, do you expect a pat on the back? Run-of-the-mill sinners do that. If you only help those who help you, do you expect a medal? Garden variety sinners do that. If you only give for what you hope to get out of it, do you think that is charity? The stingiest of pawnbrokers does that. I tell you, love your enemies. Help and give without respecting a return. You'll never, I promise, regret it. Live out this God-created identity the way our Father lives toward us, generously and graciously. Even when we're at our worst, our Father is kind. You be kind. If I catch the coronavirus, it will kill me. I have too many comorbidities. If you could keep me alive by putting on a mask, why would not you be generous enough to do that? I would do it for you. Are masks uncomfortable? Yes, I have asthma. And by the way, there is no doctor's prescription that says an asthmatic can't wear a face mask in the middle of a pandemic. I do it when I have occasion to go out. And I breathe just fine. And so will you. If you can save a life by putting on a mask, shouldn't you do it? If I can save a life, if I can stop the spread of the coronavirus by simply putting on a mask, by allowing my freedom to be infringed that much, can you not do it? Be kind. God is kind to us. He expects us to be kind to each other. Don't pick on people, jump on their failures, criticize their faults, unless, of course, you want the same treatment. Don't condemn those who are down. That hardness can boomerang. Be easy on people. You'll find life's a lot easier. Give away your life. You'll find life given back, but not merely given back with bonus and blessing. Giving, not getting, is the way. Generosity begets generosity. Work the words into your life. I must work the words into my life. You must work these words into your life. He quoted, Jesus did, a Proverbs. Can a blind person guide a blind person? Wouldn't they both end up in the ditch? An apprentice doesn't lecture the master. The point is to be careful who you follow as your teacher. It is easy to see a smudge on your neighbor's face and to be oblivious to the ugly sneer on your own. Do you have the nerve to say, let me wash your face for you, when your own face is distorted by contempt? It's this I know better than you mentality again, playing a holier than thou part instead of just living our own part. Wipe that ugly sneer off your own face, and you might be fit to offer a washcloth to your neighbor. Work the words into your life. You don't get wormy apples off a healthy tree, nor good apples off a diseased tree. The health of the apple tells the health of the tree. You must begin your own life-giving lives. It is who you are, not what you say and do, that counts. Your true being brims over into true words and deeds. Why are you so polite with me, always saying, yes, ma'am, that's right, ma'am, but never doing what I tell you? These words I speak to you are not mere additions to your life, homeowner improvements to your standard of living. They are foundation words, words to build a life on. If you work the words into your life, if I work the words into my life, we are like smart carpenters who dig deep and lay the foundation of our house on bedrock. When the river bursts its banks and crashes against the house, nothing will shake it. It was built to last, but if you and I just use our words in Bible studies and don't work them into our lives, we are like a dumb carpenter who builds a house but skipped the foundation. When the swollen river came crashing in, when it comes crashing in, it collapses like a house of cards. It's a total loss. Work the words into your life. I must work the words into my life, for our failure to do so means that Ruth Bader Ginsburg lived in vain, that Breonna Taylor died in vain, that this presidential election is a sham and will mark the end of this country as we know it, that COVID-19 truly has won, and we may as well already just die of the virus because none of us has the kindness to help our neighbor. And it means that you and I have given the narrative of the gospel over to our own idolatry. Let's not do that.